When you look at a revert who rings you up and says, my mum's just, thrown me out of home because I've just told her I've become Muslim. Every time I thought about giving up, subhanAllah, somebody has called me or walked in through the door just randomly to say, I need to take my Shahada. And then I look at them and I think, this is Allah's way of telling me I need to be here and I need to carry on doing what I'm doing. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. My name is Aliya Iqbal and I'm the founder of Revert2Reality. It's 27 years now, so I guess in 1997, if I get my figures right. So it's been a long time. I actually started off in my mum's living room. I started doing circles and sisters started coming at mum's. We had our first Shahada and that was my first encounter of ever taking someone's Shahada. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. And then a few weeks later, we had another Shahada. And a few weeks later, we had another Shahada. And they were just randomly coming and, I wasn't advertising the circles or anything. And then the classes just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And we thought, okay, we can't keep taking the furniture out every week. So we decided that, look, we need to find like a small space and hire a space. And I think after the second Shahada, my thoughts were like, I can't just take this sister's Shahada and not do anything. Like, I have a responsibility towards her. So we kind of started, if they were thrown out of home because of their conversion, if they were, abandoned by their family or they faced elements of isolation, I just did what was in my capacity. So whether I opened up my home or spent Eid with them, whether I invited them for dinner, teaching them how to pray, answering their questions, seeing to their needs, whatever I could do, I just basically plunged myself into that. I think the realization that there is a need was very early on, very early on. When you have a revert take their Shahada with you, and just to see the overwhelming feeling of, where do I go from here? What do I do? Who's going to help me how to pray? Do I have to learn by myself? Where are the resources? What do I do? You can see that worry on them. And, you feel compelled, you feel obliged to say, it's okay, like if you need any help, come back to me and, we'll. So the realization was very early on. At the top of the list, I would say a lack of community. Reverts want to be a part of a community. They want to feel a sense of inclusivity. And that is massively important to them. And when they enter Islam, because they've read up about Islam, that this is this big, beautiful family and this togetherness and brotherhood and sisterhood. And when they don't experience that, it's very deflating for them. A perfectly normal, ordinary day at R with someone walking through the door is we'd sit down and have coffee first, because coffee's a priority. We'd sit, have coffee, ask them how they are, how their day is, make them feel comfortable. Like literally, we wouldn't even go straight into why are you here. That is very important to us, just to let them just chill and relax here. And then we really ask them about their journey, where they've been and where their struggles have been and where they feel they need the assistance and how we can be of assistance. So we kind of have a general chit chat, have a conversation with them, and based on their response, we tailor what is befitting for that individual. And hence why at R2R, every revert is an individual and each revert is seen individually. It's a mundane task because it's time consuming, but it's worth it because we see the growth, we see the benefit of it. So we have tafsir of the Quran twice a week for women only. We also have Arabic, like a beginner's Quranic Arabic, just to help the reverts to get onto reading Quran. We have a Brothers Friday class, and then we try to do socials. Like this space really needs to feel like a social community hub. And if you think about a revert, they've left behind a huge social life of theirs, and we have to ensure we fill that in a way that is suitable to them. So just having a Friday night social, everyone comes together, the sisters do games, the brothers chill out, we order pizza, it's downtime, it's their time, just to relax and have some nice company. We have our afternoon teas that take place as well. And then we do, we run our coffee shop throughout the week. So we do various things, throughout the year. My journey has been a long one for sure, and I don't know where the time has gone. You know, when I look back, especially since we've had the Artois Wellbeing Centre, it's already been 7 years since we've had this centre, and I think Artois had phases, and we've had very, very strong high points. We've had low points as well. But for me personally, I needed to be there for the reverts, regardless of what was happening in my personal life, what was happening around me. And the reason I think my determination was always there is because when you look at a revert who rings you up and says, my mum's just, thrown me out of home because I've just told her I've become Muslim, or my family are giving me a lot of grief and, the person's crying on the phone. Sadly, very common stories that I would hear all the time, the struggles that they would be having on a day-to-day. And I felt like, okay, just come and see me. So I think that's my underlining determination that I just have to keep going. And even times when I personally wanted to give up, just due to struggles and sometimes financial struggles with the charity, or just thinking it's just too much. Every time I thought about giving up, subhanAllah, when I say to you, literally the amount of times I've given up and somebody has called me or walked in through the door just randomly to say, I need to take my Shahada. And then I look at them and I think, this is Allah's way of telling me I need to be here and I need to carry on doing what I'm doing. I think, as strange as it may sound, to make them feel welcome and inclusive. We know that the Muslim Ummah is made of many nationalities and many colours and races. Nobody should feel, discriminated. The first thing our mosques need to do is have a welcoming approach to everyone. Inclusivity and equality. We're all Muslims, to show respect. And I think also patience and resilience. So if there is a sister that's walked in and her hijab's not proper, her hair sticking out, she's walked in with nail varnish or, things like that, to make excuses, to think maybe she just took her Shahada. No one's taught her about these things yet, and she's not aware of these things yet. Maybe it took a lot of courage for this sister, to pluck her courage to walk into that mosque, and then someone's made a really horrible remark. And we have heard these stories. We've heard sisters saying, I'm not going to the mosque ever. I don't want to go to the mosque. It's a horrible feeling, or, no one even talks to you, or no one even asks you, or whatever it is. I think there's a lot of education to be done, because our masajid are run by our seniors. May Allah bless them, may Allah preserve them. They come from a very cultural understanding, and they haven't had the exposure of the dawah and the ground level struggles that reverts have. We have reverts who come in here and say to us, I have nobody in this country. I have nobody, but I have only Arta'a. I have no Muslim family in this country. And if I didn't have Arta'a where I could come, sit down, have coffee, and just something simple. Just yesterday, a sister came in and said to me, thank you for allowing me to sit with you and have lunch. It was important to that individual because maybe they don't have any Muslim individual in their life who they can just sit down and just have some lunch with. The void would be huge, really and truly, because we see reverts when they go through highs and lows. So sometimes they come and take their Shahada and they might move on. They might go off, and we see them after a year. But they know they can come back to us after a year. They can come back after a year and a half. They can go through high and low phases. So imagine if we were not here. They know that we won't judge. If a sister has, sometimes with sisters come in, they're wearing hijab. The following week, they're not wearing a hijab. Sometimes they are going through a phase or a difficult situation, but they know that at Arta'a, we will not look at them and say, why? What is going on? But it would be like, are you okay? And that's what's important to us. Well, resources are very important. When someone takes their Shahada with us, we gift them a Shahada pack. And within that Shahada pack, we do give them a prayer mat, a Quran, dua book, and various other materials. Very basic, because we're going towards a very digital world of people not really reading many books. But just basic essentials to give them like a head start. It's like a starter pack. And resources for reverts are massively important. And we do have to take into consideration their learning style and how they're learning. So we regularly have a think tank here. We regularly do like a focus group where we speak to the reverts and say, you know, how are the books, how are you finding the prayer mat, how are you finding, you know, X, Y, and Z. Also, when we teach them in the first few sessions, we try to gauge from them, are they a visual learner, or, you know, are they more auditory, or are they more, you know, like they like YouTube or whatever, what sort resources. It helps me when I teach them how they learn, okay, and it helps us to build into that. The Salah mat, when we first came across it, we did recommend it to our reverts, and alhamdulillah, they were really well, it was very well received, and we still encourage them, and we say to them, look, you know, this is an option that you can have, you know, this is something that you can look at. And I think the good thing, the beauty of the Salah mat is it speaks, right? So it kind of, it's engaging, and, you know, it allows them to hear the recitation, you know, and work through it. And that is actually very unique if you think about it, because a lot of the material out there, it doesn't have that. It doesn't have the visual and the audio. So this is quite unique in itself because it has both. It has both, you know, and it's been really well received.